Joe Goodhue.
I move that the question be now put.
I'll hear the Honourable Steve Chadwick.
Mr Chair, I do feel moved to take a call on this bill today, and it really arose from the Junior Whip and Nationals' response when we were seriously beginning debate on a bill that has been a long journey, and I found it insulting and insensitive to see the whip of the National Party say, hurry up, this is just the preamble. This is not just the preamble. I want to say to that member and to other National Party members that felt bored about the process of bringing this bill, the Whanganui Iwi bill, to the House today. We certainly heard about the long wait, and I think this is the sort of debate that the Junior Whip would have precluded today by trying to railroad this bill through the House today to get moving on it. We've heard some wonderful erudite submissions today on this bill, both in the preamble and now in part one, where my colleague talked about Whanganui, the long wait. Sure, they've waited, and I'd like to tell Mrs Goodhue that my whakapapa in my family goes back to the Whanganui River, and we feel insulted that that party over there, and I would exclude the Minister and the Chair from this, who, through his role as Minister of Treaty Settlements, has learned about sensitivity, time that it takes to get these treaty settlements to the table. In fact, if you look at the Treaty of Waitangi, it's now 171 years ago. Then we had the Treaty of Waitangi Act in 1975. Then we got to the deed of settlement here and the deed of on-account settlement. That was when things started to move for the Whanganui, which is reflected in this part of this bill today. That was 2 3/4 years ago. And I then see that we moved on to the deed of settlement. So the Minister in the Chair has endeavoured to pick up the pace and the rate of these settlements and that process, and that will be appreciated by both Ngāti Apa and the Whanganui Iwi. I think it's a very important component of this bill today that we are debating in part one, that the meaning of the Whanganui Iwi historical claims means every claim, and this is great. We're getting to the difficult end of treaty settlements. This is quite a complex cluster, really, of issues when you look at both forestry and then the Ngāti Apa ultimate ownership of Kaitoke prison, and I think that's a very good model. I also want to refer, as my colleague Damien O'Connor referred to, the issue of iwi ownership of facilities like the Kaitoke prison, which will result from part one of this bill. And I was the member for Rotorua at the time when we looked at a youth justice site. Couldn't find a site. In fact, national members of that town were dying to destroy my career by where we found a location. They didn't like it. And ultimately I went back and worked with Iwi, who came up with a new proposal to have the youth justice site on Iwi-owned land, and that was quite a break in tradition, just as this bill in part one will be a wonderful opportunity for Ngāti Apa to look at prison management and ownership for the people of Ngāti Apa. And I think we're seeing some very interesting things come about from Te Arawa involvement in our Rotorua Youth Justice Site. And so it is really great to see these provisions in this bill actually starting to address things that were injurious to people like the Whanganui and Ngāti Apa through the Public Works Act and through the taking of land to build a prison, and also through the forestry components in this Act that are now addressed. So I do congratulate the Minister and the Chair. I think it would be lovely when this is over and we've heard the full debate on every part of this bill, that the Minister has a little quiet word to the members of his caucus to actually ask them to show a little bit more sensitivity when acts of settlement are coming before the House, and not try to rush through the process because it's a very important process. It's listened to by hundreds of people out on the sound waves. It is offensive if there is an indication that we're wasting time. I am deeply offended by that. We are debating. This is the House of Parliament, and this is the democratic process. So I look forward to continued debate on this bill.
Honourable David Carter.
Mr. Chair.